Herculaneum and Pompeii were two ancient Roman cities built right next to a volcano. Probably not the best real estate choice in hindsight, because when Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD, it unleashed a wave of ash, fire and destruction that wiped out both cities in a matter of hours, killing thousands of people who never had a chance to escape. Join me as I explore these incredible ruins frozen in time and ash and uncover what life looked like moments before everything changed.
Welcome to the site of Herculaneum. Herculaneum is the other place that has been destroyed by the eruption of the Vesuvius. The thing is, compared to Pompeii, this volcano, this city has been completely covered by the dirt and all the debris coming from the volcano, and it has been only discovered quite recently, a few centuries to 200 years ago. And since it has been completely covered, although it's a much smaller site, it has been very, very well preserved, and you can see here all the work that they've done. All of this was underground. And here we are, inside this very ancient city. We got a beautiful inner garden from what probably used to be an old palace. Here you can have leftover of the woodwork that got preserved, but clearly show signs of burning. There you go, so the kind of atmosphere. Yes, patio.
To help us preserve the archaeological heritage, please do not lean on or sit on ancient surfaces, and be careful not to run backpacks or bags against destruction. Thank you for your cooperation.
Luxury. That's the only thing I think about visiting this. Whilst you're working, restoring, maintaining, reinforcing what's leftovers of this treasure, clearly. That is for sure Main Street, the sewer that would go on the side and would be evacuated. Is this a fountain?
It's amazing.
So, Mom, what do you prefer? White wine or red wine?
Here you can see that the water would go through here, go under this path, and then go down there. So yeah, probably this was some kind of half street, half gutter sewer.
Wo ein schwarzer Flechtsrahmen auf weiß.
As I showed you in some other videos, of course, the people here also would take the available stones to build their homes. And here, there's, of course, proximity of the volcano. And what you can see is that they have used volcanic rock coming from the very volcano that later would destroy them. And welcome to the poop room! The room where people would just have poop. The room with some extra privacy if you want. That is very wavy floor, but extremely well preserved. Mosaic. Once again, a very impressive house here. Look at the sheer size of this room. What I found is, looks like some kind of little shop. Different pots where you could store different things, grains, something else, I don't know. And maybe the people would come to your shop. I feel like this one was pretty well situated, right at the corner of two streets. They would come in, say, "Hey, dear sir, what do you want? Okay, I give you a little bit of this." Pretty neat. At the very end of this tunnel, turn the left, you will find a big surprise. Hell yeah.
20 000 personnes, hein?
This is the best conserved amphitheater, and we are live in Pompeii. This amphitheater could host 20,000 people. You also have to imagine that the place where you're sitting would also give an idea about your social status on this amphitheater. The higher you sit, and the wealthier and more important, and the higher your status is. So basically, if you're a patrician, someone really influential and powerful, you would sit on the top. And the lower classes, like slaves, prostitutes, would sit on the lower levels. You also have to imagine that this structure would be covered partly with a huge piece of fabric that would cover and give shade to the spectators. Of course, watching here lions tearing apart poor souls, or watching gladiators fight together. While you're in Pompeii, try to visit the gallery that has the remaining of the people who got buried alive under the volcano eruption. This is the kind of exhibit that you have. So, out of discretion, of course, this goes all along the way. So I won't film it, but try to have a look at it. But what I can say is that the method that they use to reproduce these techniques have been interesting. But what you'll see is the original casting, so it contains basically the remainings of the people who died over there. A horrible death, for sure. This column right here gives you hour by hour the accumulation of all pyroclastic material that have been deposited right after the beginning of the eruption. So from the bottom here to the dotted line, you got the first 24 hours. No, actually the first 12 hours. And then here, the second day. So basically all this is between 5 and 6 meters height. So really enough to bury you with your house and all the city with it. That gives you just an idea about the power of this eruption and why it managed to completely cover the city. Of course, this eruption didn't come by pure surprise. The noise and the rumbling already was some huge alarming signs that something would come, and some people would be already fleeing the city. However, as you saw, this eruption took quite a long time to completely finish, with many pyroclastic eruption and material covering over and over the city. Some people try to find shelter in their homes, but the sheer amount of pyroclastic material had destroyed the roofs, and the roofs fell on top of them. The remaining survivors tried to keep hidden or to try and escape. However, for hours on end, multiple pyroclastic eruption came down and got through the whole city, covering it with even thicker layer of pumice and ash. Horrible death, really. The site of Pompeii is still an enormous excavation site and site where they're doing studies. Here, this is a huge structure that protects ongoing investigations. We have no right to take pictures from here, but from what we can see is that given the sheer size of whole Pompeii, still in 2026, they are still digging. And as you can see here, you can distinguish the series of columns. So basically here, under this dirt, there are still many things to discover. I am sitting right now at the amphitheater, or at least one of the two amphitheaters that you can visit in Pompeii. There you go. Of course, like in the Colosseum that I showed you, the closer you are from the scene and the more expensive the seats are. So basically, the most prestigious places where you could sit are here on this first 5 stairs, where you would find chairs and you would just sit there and watch the festivities, the spectacle. And then of course the higher up you go and the cheaper the seats are. Of course, this amphitheater have been repaired and repurposed, and now is actually used by the locals to host spectacles. Must be really great. And this is as high as it gets. Down there, behind the wall, where you see the colonnades, this apparently used to be the barracks of the gladiators that would live there and then go to the Colosseum that I showed you just before. Thank you. One of the interesting things about Pompeii is that apparently all transport carts had some given size, and all the merchandise, when it had to be brought inside the city, it needed to be put on another type of cart, a type of cart that only this type was authorized within the walls of the city. I guess that some powerful people had some cart business and got this very nice law to assure them a very profitable business. Definitely. Because it's not about size limitations, because you can see this very broad street. No problem. So I don't know. Of course, we are even before the Middle Ages, and therefore, when you live in a city, you would think how waste would be evacuated from the city. So I don't think that they had a sewer system here. However, as you can notice, the streets here and the sidewalk, there's a huge difference, just as you saw like this. And therefore, if you want to cross the street without getting dirty, walking on horse poop, you'd have to get some way to get to the other side. And therefore they have designed a very specific kind of crosswalk. These stones are up higher, so that would allow you to cross, get to the other side and stay feet clean. The other good benefit is that whenever there's a lot of water, it would get through and you wouldn't get wet. So maybe that's some kind of crosswalk prototype. Pretty cool. Thank you, Ted, for the examples, showing the example. Look at this. Years and years of carts going through here have literally shaped the shape of the stones and leaving the same mark. But this is stone. It has made through the stone. So I bet that this place was the place of huge traffic with carts going all day long. And basically, you could guess the distance between the two wheels. Very impressive. Well, now we are in the beautiful farm, this giant farm, the giant space that was used as a gathering space, place of meeting, discussion, debate. And here we are in the ruins, in the very heart of Pompeii, the city that has been destroyed by the explosion of Mount Sumia. Not Vesuvio, actually, it's Sumia. We can see it from here. Just a little mount over there. And look at the huge space here.
Aperto come